All right, welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick. And on today's episode, we have special guest EmmaStoned and special guest co-host Mrs. Frost. Yeah, how's it going, Emma?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Just hanging out at home. Got Mrs. Frost here beside me, as I was saying, and just enjoying being home, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I see that. Emma here is just fresh off her trip to Vegas.
Trip to Vegas, and then I feel like I just worked for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, gross.
I was not ready to go back to work.
Dennis and I, Tyrell, we were talking about it, and we called it your Mecca trip.
Oh yeah.
It was your trip to like the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was wild, like just meeting everyone that I did and stuff, and then like getting a little piece of like their everyday lives too. Like they're just normal people, and I'm like, it's crazy to see the behind the scenes because you see people on TikTok, especially like bigger creators, and you're like, oh, they're cool, but to like actually see them and like talk a little bit on day-to-day life is really neat.
Oh yeah, who did I discover that with? So Dave, the upcycler, discovered that, his behind the scenes life. It's kind of chaotic. Like he portrays it everywhere else.
Yeah.
So like not so bad. And then I don't know who else have I really seen. Donnie's pretty interesting fellow to hang out with. And so I definitely get what you say by that. Yeah.
I feel like it's a big thing on TikTok. Like people like to see their behind the scenes life, right? Like people like to see creators behind the scenes life, which is why things like TikTok exist.
Yeah, that's true. And also, like the things that are going viral right now is the come with me, and as I show you the day in the life and how I live, right? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is how I like Emma would be like, this is what I did as a TikTok accountant today. You got up and you know.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty interesting and whatnot. So yeah, usually I just go into this and I wing it, but Mrs. Frost here won't allow me to do that. So
I think that you could be just a little more organized. just a tiny bit more organized.
I thrive in the chaos. I thrive in it. So it's pretty good. And yeah, I don't know. So we got a pen and paper here today.
I do.
Casey's got a pen and paper here today.
Yes.
So
I got a pen and paper.
I love that. So Emma, like, basically, I guess I wanted to touch on, like, how you got started, like, in the oil field first, as a medic, and and then, jump into the spicy / meat and potatoes ball, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I started in the oil field in September 2013. I think that's when I started. And I was like a year out of high school. I worked at McDonald's full time. And then I started dating this guy, and he was a well tester. And he's like, you should do your first aid course. And I was like, I don't know. And then his best friend, who's a chick, was like, you should do your first aid course. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good idea. So it took a couple people telling me to do it. And then I was like, why not? And then I started off in like Fort St. John. And for a couple months, my first hitch, I didn't know what to expect of the oil field. And I might have had a DUI for drugs on my license at the time because my car smelled like marijuana when I went through a roadblock one time. So that was my bad. Yeah. And I knew I screwed up and stuff. So I drove up to Fort St. John for my job interview to be like, hey, this isn't me. I was like, I let my boyfriend smoke a joint in my car, and that was a stupid mistake. I'd never do it again. And so then I got on with this company, and the guy who hired me, I was like, thank you so much for the job. I go to shake his hand. He just looks me dead in the eyes. He's like, don't fuck up. I was like, all right then.
Well, first of all, what do you expect from a well tester? You should have known. Looking back, you probably wouldn't do that again.
Now I'm like, well testers, okay, that's the different side of the patch.
It's all those benzene and what's that biocide.
So you started as a well tester?
No, I started as a medic, but I was dating a well tester.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And
I missed it.
so, and then he convinced me that I should work all winter and take summers off, and he had a boat. So like, it really was a great plan, I thought. So, made some pretty poor financial decisions for a while. But I had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of experiences, and I wouldn't change anything. Like one year, I think it was 2014, we went to Bali for a month, and that was amazing. I would love to go back to Bali. And then the next year,
decision there, I guess. Bali, that's cool. You got to travel.
Yeah, and then the next year we did a month-long road trip in the States, and we went to Thailand and Cambodia for a month. So I'm as much as I didn't save anything, I have a lot of good experiences.
No, that's awesome, and those are the people that when I first got into the oil field, those are the people that like I saw. A lot of people doing that, right? Because I first started off at Husky Sunrise for a company called IPAM, and boo, and I wish I had a soundboard. Anyway, so Husky doesn't. I don't think Husky exists anymore. Actually, they sold out to like CNRL. I'm pretty sure, but the guys, the Saipam would pay for your flights anywhere you wanted to go, right? Like anywhere. So
I've heard about that.
Yeah, a lot of the young single guys, they would work like their 3-4 weeks, and then they would take off to like Australia. They'd take off to China. They'd go wherever they wanted for their 2 weeks off, right? I didn't have 2 weeks off. Some of them did, right? Like the instrumentation techs and some of the, no, I don't want to do that. So
he's job hunting now.
So well,
you're always job hunting.
Always job hunting, and that's what everybody in the oil field says, like, well, you're going to lose your job. That's okay. I was looking for a job when I found this one. So, Yeah, no, that's cool that you got to travel. What was your favorite place?
Probably Bali. Cool. I found people a lot friendlier in Bali than like Thailand. I think Thailand has just been so blown up and like overdone because of what's that one movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? I forget, but there's one movie that was like filmed at some part of Thailand, and so they upsell it and they're like, oh, go to where this movie was filmed and this and that, and people are just very touristy, and like the fact they just want to, like, they see many signs on you kind of thing is how I felt. Whereas Bali, like, I actually made friends with some of the local people, and they're like, we've never seen snow before, and I'm like, that's so wild. Like, just like talking to them and like the differences between like Canada and Bali, and they're like, if we want to go to Canada, we need to have a minimum in our bank account.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so insane. I can't, like, I'm so blessed to be born in Canada. I'm so happy to be from Canada. Like, that really opened my eyes, because I was like, I didn't understand how privileged I was before I went to these other countries. And like, there's kids on the street at 10 o'clock, and I'm like, isn't it their bedtime? Like, but that's just how it is over there.
They just roam like feral cats.
Yeah. And like, also, like, they do scams there. Like, if you buy formula, they can sell it back to the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper will pay them 50% to buy it back off them. Wow. So like, there's like,
of course, it's like
a 12-year-old on the street with a 4-year-old being like, I need formula for my baby sister. And I'm like, she's not quite a baby anymore. But yeah, so it was wild to see.
Bali has some crazy rules now. Bali's the one that you can't go to unless you're married now. Like, you can't stay in the same. You can't stay in the same like hotel room as someone, like, as your common law partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend. You have to be married.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's just
I saw that recently. Yeah. And I is it enforced right away, or is it coming in soon?
I don't know. I'm not going to Bali anytime soon, so I haven't.
Yeah.
And I just saw.
Either way.
And you're married, aren't you?
Yeah, we're married.
We're staying in
so you just can't go to Bali with your boyfriend.
Yeah, that's
dang it. Oh, yeah. Damn.
Plot twist. But when I heard about that, I was low-key curious. I'm like, how do they know if I had a girlfriend?
Oh, I don't think you're allowed in the country.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw they were changing all the rules, and it was pretty intense what they were changing them to, because it's it's in Indonesia.
Yeah, it's kind of like it kind of be like Qatar for the World Cup, right? Like,
yes,
they didn't allow, if you were even wearing the LGBTQ plus armband or anything in support of, they made you take it off.
Wild.
I think some of the Iranian players, I think it was, they're up for, like, they're being indicted on some charges now because, well, they stood against, they stood in protest against the Iranian regime, and then one of them actually, I think, like, stood up for gay rights or something like that. So
yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, and then they want to have it, the next one in Syria, which is even worse, or not Syria, Saudi Arabia, which is even worse, right? So
yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be in Syria. They don't have roads. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
I think traveling in the oil field, as much as like people say like, oh, you should invest your money so you can get out in time, but like it's also like so important to travel while you're young. And like we did a lot of traveling. We didn't go far because I had a full-time job, like Monday to Friday full-time job. So like we didn't go far, but we traveled a lot when we were younger, and I think it's so important to do it while you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you never know what tomorrow's gonna bring, right?
My favorite place.
And like kids after they turn 2 are a full price ticket, so that's a hard pill to swallow too.
We have a 3-year-old. She's turning 3 and now she's no free.
Yeah. So it's kind of good because we were together for 12 years before we had any kids. So we got like 12 years of just us, right? Mm-hmm. So like I look at that and people are like, "Oh, you're gonna take your kids with you when you go to Vegas or here and there." I'm like, "Yeah, man," because like we're not drinkers, we're gamblers, so like we want to see other things, right? We'd be going for a different experience. And like, I want my kids to experience that kind of stuff too, because we experienced a lot of things when we were like in our 20s. Mm-hmm. So like, I wish my dad would have, and probably your dad too, would have like, taken you to experience a lot sooner.
Like Disney World.
Disney World was one of them. We went to Disney World a couple times as adults. That was fun.
Yeah.
Now we're going to take our kids soon.
Yeah. I went to Vegas for my first time when I was 11. We did a family road trip to the Grand Canyon. And before that, my parents had always told me there's nothing for kids to do in Vegas. And so they would always go like in the spring with their friends, and they'd always stay at Excalibur. So I just remember getting the cups from Excalibur when they came home, and I was like, Vegas sucks. And then we go in the trailer and we're staying in the parking lot of Circus, and I don't sit down for 3 days. I'm like, there is a store of M&Ms and you could get it in any color. Like there's 17 shades of purple. Like what? Like I was so amazed at the M&M store and the Coca-Cola store. They're like 3 stories high, like everything you could want.
It's like that in Disney Springs too, right? They're like giant stores of like Coca-Cola and M&Ms, and I think there's another one too.
Disney Springs is kind of like Disney after hours, right? So it's not like bad or anything like that, but we're all the bars.
Cirque du Soleil is there, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, and that's the first time when we went to Florida that I seen police, right? Like woo, like lights flashing and shit like that. It was like, whoa, there's actually cops in this area. That's cool.
Because of the Disney.
Yeah. It was the Disney police, so like they probably just carry bubble guns or whatever.
Yeah.
They're real. I think they're real cops, but I think traveling.
So as a medic, I've heard this rumor a couple times, and a lot of people have said it. Like they kind of like groom you, or maybe that's wrong, or groom you or train you.
I think grooming is a bad word to use there.
They train you then, or they prepare you for like what life is going to be like out on site, and they like, hey, don't wear this, don't put on makeup, don't look pretty, don't doll yourself up, because no
one's ever said that to me. I mean I heard it one time from one person, but as Courtney Vale on TikTok, she makes whole videos about, she gets ready. It's like a normal job. You get up and get ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I heard it from a couple of people. You heard it from the one, yeah. I heard it from a couple of people, right? Where it's like, hey, like the guys out here are creeps. You gotta be careful, right? And that's good. That's good to know, because that'd be pretty shitty. That'd be pretty, toxic.
Yeah, no, companies have never said anything. Well, except for the very first company that I worked for was like, no hoodies, like this and that. Like, they were a terrible company. And also being new to the oil field, you don't know what standards to hold yourself to. Because the second shack that they put me in, I was like, I think there's mice in the shack, to the guy who's like, don't fuck up. And I'm like, I think there's mice. I haven't seen any, but like there's a lot of mouse shit and chewed up toilet paper. And he's like, oh no, the last guy killed them all.
That's how we found him in our car last year. Most poop everywhere. And then this food chewed up. And then Casey found them in the dome light up above, nesting up there, right? They hadn't done anything bad yet. We set up traps everywhere. We caught a really big fat one first. And then I set up 2 traps, boom, right away. Reset them. An hour later, went back, boom, good. And then set them again. Only one of them had gone off. And then I reset them. And then did you find any more after that? Or did we only catch 6?
That I've blocked it out.
She's from it. So
our kids also have PTSD.
Every time we get in the car, since then
he left food in the back of the car, which is how they got attracted to them.
Yeah, blame it on me, not the kids that eat in the back seat all the time.
I was gonna say, I honestly was thinking it was the kids, because driving with kids, the easiest thing to do is to give them snacks, because then they're busy for a little bit. If they have snacks, they're content. That is one of the best things.
Snacks and a tablet.
We now have a vacuum cleaner in our car that every time we go on a road trip and then they get out, we vacuum the car seats just to get all the no debris left ever, because we were very lucky that nothing happened. Right?
I get the greatest satisfaction from filling a whole garbage bag just from the back seat. But
you throw their toys.
Well, don't leave them lying on the floor. Right?
Yeah.
So you've worked how many medic companies have you worked for in the time you've been?
Okay, so I'm one of the few people in the oil field who I work on my schedule, and if my schedule doesn't work with yours, I'll do my best to try and work with you, but at the end of the day, I'm a number to a company, so I'm not gonna go above and beyond. I've been doing it for 10 years now, so I'm I know my shit. I know what I need to do. I'll go there and do it. I'll get there safely. I'll take my time. So it is what it is. But I would say probably 15 to 20 companies. Because whenever it was slow, I'm okay, I'm available for a day here or there kind of thing. One medic company, I was living in Grand Prairie. They were out of Fort St. John, and she's like, oh, we'll meet in Dawson and you can pick up the truck. Because I was like, I got to get a ride. I don't know if I could get one all the way there. She's like, I'll meet you halfway. It's okay. So I meet her at Tim Hortons parking lot. And as I pull up, she's like, oh, yeah, did I tell you you're pulling a light tower? It's no. She's like, don't worry. Just when you get to location, just let the guys park it. They'll unhook it. They'll do everything. It's fine. I was like, if it falls off, I can't see it. I have an MTC on the back, but okay.
This is your first time pulling something?
Yeah, that was my very first time pulling something. And I was like, oh, okay. Can't see it, but all right. And so I've also got a fair amount of jobs with different companies, because it's they're looking for someone last minute. So I'm okay, I can leave today and I can be that person. Yeah. So, and I've never burnt bridges. I just tell people oh, I'm going on days off, or I'm doing this or that. The current company that I worked for, I worked with him in 2020 for 6 months. And then my last shift, I was leaving Dawson Creek, and he's like, stay the night, hotel's paid for. And I was like, I'm going to go to Grand Prairie. I made it 10 clicks out of Dawson Creek before I hit a moose in my Honda Civic.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
But have you ever heard of anyone hitting a moose? The moose's nose hit my windshield. So the frame of the car was okay. I walked away. My windshield needed to get replaced the next day. And I'm like, if I had an SUV, that moose's head would have been in my face. Like, just wild. So then one chick saw it happen, and she pulled over for me, and she's like, oh, I work for a trucking company. Do you want to bring your car to the shop? Like, it's a kilometer down the road. And I was like, can I even drive my car? Because at first I thought my car was going to be toast. And I like got out and looked, and I was like, how is there not a scratch on the side? Like, what?
That's crazy.
Wild.
Casey and I almost hit a moose on our way to Jasper. Oh, we stayed in Edson, right? Or Hinton? Hinton. We stayed in Hinton. We almost hit a moose. We were talking that day how she's never seen a wild moose before.
I'm only at the zoo. I only seen one at the zoo ever in my entire life. I was like, maybe I'll see a moose in Jasper. How exciting! How exciting!
Yeah.
We were driving
our Nissan Altima.
So a little car too, and we were driving and like. It was probably 15 minutes later, and there was a giant moose on the road, and like it would like jumped out and like spit or peed on our windshield. Like it was very scary. And I swerved into the other lane. Luckily, like no one was there, so we just drove away with no scratches, nothing. But
took her like 10 minutes to stop screaming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. That happened to me when I hit a bird like a month ago. It went in the grill of my medic truck, and I was like, I just pictured like a Pixar movie, like like all the birds flying, and then it's like, Johnny, where'd Johnny go? And I'm like,
oh my gosh, we did the same thing on the way to Salt Lake City. We were driving to Salt Lake City, and like was I pregnant? I was pregnant with Penelope.
That time,
yeah, and he had to like go in with like the gun to like shoot, like the
wash one
at the car wash.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Why do they do this? Why are they on the road like this?
A couple of years ago when I was working on the road, I was going to from Weyburn to Carlisle, Saskatchewan, and it was I think this mid-morning, and I was just going, and the family of ducks crossed the road in front of me, and like two of the ducklings kind of sort of didn't make it. I felt so bad. Like I called Casey. I'm like, I just killed ducklings. Like I feel horrible. And Courtney was with me, and he was laughing the whole time. That guy would see a prairie dog on the side of the road, and he would be like, try to hit it. One time the prairie dog like scooted across. It sat on the edge. He like bolted for it. And then he missed it. The prairie dog came out and like looking because he stopped, right? And he's like, did I hit him? And he stopped. And the prairie dog like looked at him almost as if to taunt him. So Courtney backed up and tried to hit him again.
I don't want to hear that story.
Oh, sorry, PETA. Oh shit, that's great. No, but so basically 15, 20 companies, whatever. You know what you said. You're just a number to some companies, and you're gonna live life on your terms or be there on your terms now, right? And like, there's a lot of people in the last like 3 years, probably 3 years that have really like come out and been like, hey, I've given you my everything for so long, and you just treat me like a bag of shit. So now, I'm here, and this is. I'm doing me now, right? Like you step out of line with me, like that's it, I'm gone, right? And a lot of workers are now demanding a lot of respect out of their employers. And right now with the current labor market, right, and the labor shortage, and how busy everything is, employees have like the upper hand right now.
Oh, definitely. And that's the other thing too, is like the more companies you work for, like every company has its pros and cons kind of thing. And it's really funny because there's like, some companies, like I only ever got fired once.
Who was it?
She was featured on the podcast is coming out tomorrow. Huh?
Oh shit!
She fired me, but it was my bad because you're not supposed to sneak people into the staff house, and or really sleep with the help. Like I was on a service rig, and I really took a liking to one of the Roughnecks, and so then we started hanging out pretty much like every day. And so I snuck him in the staff house, and then like when I was, I don't know, I guess it's in the past, doesn't matter, but in the staff house, I actually made some great friends with girls because the girl would come in and I'm like, oh, hey, like, how's it going? And this one chick who I'm still friends with to today, her boyfriend at the time was coming up and she's like, oh, yeah, we're going to get a hotel. And I was like, girl, fuck, it's me and you in the house. Have them over here. I'm really outing myself. And so, like, I was like, oh, you could have them over. She's like, oh, if you want to have a friend over, you can. I'm like, okay. And so I just like, because I wanted to respect the other people that were staying in the house. I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. Yeah. And then the next medic that came in, I was like, hey, like, do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, no. And then we talked like a week later. She's like, I thought you were hitting on me. I was like, oh. I was like, oops. But so I ended up getting caught sneaking him in the house and stuff. So I got let go, which is totally understandable. I see that now. And like, I was young and dumb. I mean,
how upset were you then?
What?
How upset were you in the moment?
I was really upset because I had a lot of cabbage with me, let's call it, because when we left our cars in the parking lot, we had to give them our keys to our car. So I was like, in case they have to move my key for snow removal or move my car for snow removal, I don't want my car to be stinky. So obviously, smart thing to do, not at all, would be to take it with me and keep it in my room at the staff house. So apparently it was turned over to the police because this is back before it was legal. But I also buy in bulk because it's cheaper. So like that was a really big fuck up on my part as well. But like I definitely lived and learned, and like I got really scolded when I got fired, obviously. But she's like, you're just a number to these guys, like another little trophy, like, oh, they got the medic. And I'm like, I don't know. I still love the guy to this day. So I'm happy. Like the chain of events, I do regret what happened, and like honestly was a very shitty employee there. So that was my bad, but you live and you learn, and I definitely, it's funny now because I feel like I'm more responsible and grown up and like respect my job a lot more, which is kind of ironic because I picked up the spicy side stuff. But it's like, since I started picking that up, I'm like, no, like this is my job. And if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to fuck around with it.
Yeah, of course. So that roughneck is no longer a roughneck, and he is he lives upstairs, doesn't he?
Yes.
It was a long term.
It was a long-term thing. It wasn't just like you stuck in and you lost your job for no reason. It was love. Love is love.
I know. I mean, I almost got married in 2020.
Wow. On a whim?
No, we were planning it, but shit happens, and unfortunately it wasn't COVID, it was other shit. But now I'm at the point where, like, if you want to be with someone, just be with them because you love them. Like, weddings are cool, don't get me wrong. I've been a bridesmaid 4 times. I fucking love that shit. I got 2 weddings this year. But now I'm at the point where I want someone to just be with me because they want to be with me, not because they have to be with me. Or like a lot of couples these days, the way the inflation is, it's so sad because even if they are more like roommates now, they can't split up because they can't live on their own.
Yeah.
And
I like living with my roommate.
Yeah, well, and that's the goal. Like you wanna enjoy the time that you spend at home. You wanna be there. You wanna enjoy the people that you live with, which I mean, you got a pretty cool gang at your house, I'd say. Your girl gang.
Girl gang, yeah.
They're a gang, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like we didn't have the big wedding hoop to die. It was like a quick thing, got married, and that was it.
Where'd you guys get married?
Saskatoon.
Ooh.
It was just like a quick thing, just a quick get married, and we just did it just because.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like we had to do it. We were very young. Like looking back now.
Oh yeah, we were so young.
Looking back now, but we were like 23 and 24.
Yeah.
If you think about your sisters the same age as that now, and like if she got married, we'd be devastated. She's so young.
You're too young for this. Stop
oh yeah, you're still growing and stuff. So the fact that you guys have like grown together and you guys still are like aligned in your views and wants and stuff, that's amazing. Because like that's the other thing is people like have started to do a lot of self work and like they've reflected as they get in their late 30s and 40s, and it's like holy shit, like. Is this really what I want in my life?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. She's gonna be 35 here in a couple of weeks. Like, what is this?
25.
We good? What? We good? We good? You're not gonna be like, hey, yo, I'm out. Or
yeah, I don't think so.
No, you're good.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
She's pretty happy.
Yeah.
I decide.
I don't think I decide actually.
Yeah.
I think
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a weak high five, but sure.
Because I have a 10. You didn't let me do it.
There you go. So our wedding, I think, cost us like $160.
Something like that, yeah.
$160. My ring was $20.
Yeah.
And
mine was a bit more.
Yeah, hers was significantly more. But like, so for years she was bugging me. We should get married. We should have
like, and now
kids.
Just think about that.
I'm thinking about it.
That was
crazy.
We were babies.
We were babies, right? We were like 18, 19, 20, right? And
and
she said, I want to have kids and get married. And I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids, right? And then I was just like, no, not for me. And then, one day, she kept bringing it up and I just ran out of excuses to say no, right? And it was like, well, fuck. It took me a lot. I had a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
I had a lot of growing up to do. So it took me like, a while to get there. But then one day it just snapped. Fuck it, let's get married, right? Like, I don't.
And it was very quick. Like we got engaged. We weren't even supposed to be engaged. It was just like, I wanted this ring and I really wanted it.
It was a nice ring.
And it was like I wanted it, and then we were like, it was gonna be a promise ring, and then for some reason it was an engagement ring, and then we got married. That was in April, and then we got married that November. Like it was very quick. Like it was like we were gonna be engaged for a long time and plan a wedding, and then we're just like, our families are so annoying about things like this.
Yeah.
Let's just get married.
So what happened with the engagement ring was I got injured at work and I had to have surgery, and I hadn't been there 3 months yet. So they were like, hey, you know what? And when I got called in the office after I'd gotten hurt and I told them I had to have surgery and I'd be off for a little while, they called me in the office and I knew I'm like, I'm done, right? And they called me and there was someone from like corporate sitting there and I'm like, it's over. But they made me sign something, right? They gave me
a lump sum. Yeah.
They gave me a lump sum payout, and I wasn't even there 3 months yet. They gave me a severance, right? Because they were in the wrong.
Big severance.
Looking back on that, it was big, but I could have gotten more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when someone's willingly offering you hush money, really, it's like, okay, so what is this really for? You're trying to cover your ass and save some.
So I just accepted the first number they threw out. I'm like, done. Bye.
It was like a lot of, especially back then, like it was a lot of money for back then.
Yeah. And looking back on it, like, I just took the first thing they offered. I could have sat there for hours bargaining with them, right?
Yeah.
You know what? Give me some benefits while you're at it. Give me benefits while I'm off. I think they did keep your benefits. Maybe they did. I think
they did. I'm about like 99% sure.
I don't remember much. All I remember is I played a lot of Call of Duty after that.
Me too.
Yeah, I played a lot of Call of Duty.
And you bought a ring.
And I bought a ring. Yeah.
Yeah, that was how it went.
Yeah, it was crazy times.
Yeah.
So, how did you start on the spicy stuff? Like, how did you get it? You were just flipping through the internet one day, and you're just like, "Fuck, this is cool. I could see me doing that."
Yeah. So, my friend of a friend, I had like seen people on TikTok do it. I had made 2 TikToks in the 6 months I had it. I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this app. Like, I hated social media, honestly, because my Facebook that I had since 2006 got deleted March 2020. someone hacked onto it and did something. So Facebook took it away. So I lost all my pictures from high school, graduation, everything that I thought was safe on Facebook, thinking I would have it forever, was gone. And my Instagram. And so I was just like so bitter with social media. I friggin' hated it. And so I made a new Facebook account. And before I had 1,000 people, now I have maybe 150 because I don't post. I don't care about Facebook. Like, it pissed me off. I just have it mainly to see the people I care about and like who post about their kids.
Yeah.
Because I like to watch like my friends' families grow and see that kind of stuff or see what's going on. But besides that, I'm like, I hated social media, which is ironic. And then I had thought about doing it because I was like, oh, I make decent money being a medic, but I've always like I've made this amount for so long, so I'm used to spending this amount too, and I like my days off and stuff. So I was like, oh, like what can I do to make a bit more? And I had thought about like photography, and I always was like, it would be so cool to be an Instagram influencer, like to get paid to be like, oh, this is the coldest water bottle, or like the different things that you see. Like, sponsor me. Like anyone. But I thought that would be so cool. And that was something that I always kind of wanted to do. And then I heard a friend of a friend, she made 10 grand in 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, if I could just make an extra $1,000 a month, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And so I also I worked away from my boyfriend. So we already kind of sent some spicy content back and forth. So when I went to go start it, I was like going through the last year on my camera roll, and I already had stuff. Like, it wasn't like I had to go and be like, oh, I need to go take pictures. I'd already had kind of a base.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. Why not? And then the first month was slow. And then after that, I think it's because I was a medic and I had the high vis and I put my face out there and like just everything together. So the second month I got a lot of traction. And then since then I'm like, I can't believe I have made as much as I have. And like, I also, before I started, was like, I'm more comfortable, like 30 to 40 pounds less, like weight wise. Like I can do more. I'm not as out of breath. Like, just like lifting an 18-liter water bottle like easily isn't a nice thing to do. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, maybe I need to be in better shape. And then I was like, fuck it. And I just started it. And then I can't believe the amount it's helped my confidence. And I'm like, people don't give a fuck. Like, I'm a real person. I'm a real body.
Men don't give a shit.
No, like
you can swear.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. It's only going everywhere, but like no one really cares about swear words.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the first video I ever saw of yours on TikTok was actually got you banned from TikTok.
What was it?
I think you went into the porta potty, and when the beat dropped, you dropped, and out they came.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was you, and it stayed up for like an hour, not even an hour. I think I seen it when it was like.
I think you told me, and I don't remember if it was Emma or not. I remember you telling me this exact story, but I don't remember if it was Emma.
And like, were they fully out?
Yeah, they.
No way. No one's gonna do that on TikTok.
Like, because I've never done fully out on TikTok.
Never? Okay, so maybe it wasn't you then.
Maybe they weren't fully.
It was. Maybe it
just looked like it.
I mean, like, it's like, honestly, it's deceiving because I can get 2 hands down here. So it's like, there's people are like, put it away, and I'm like, it's like 2 hands away, man. Like,
it is.
I'm sorry. Like, this is as away as I can go.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first payout was and how big it was or how small it was?
Well, the first month I did it in December 2020, I made $400.
Good for you.
Even like, to be honest,
which I was like,
in this economy, right?
Yeah.
Money is money.
Money is money. That's exactly.
And I was like, fuck, that's cool. Like that pays for everything that I bought this month, which was like a ring light, some lingerie, and like stuff like that. And I was like, even if I just make a little bit to like pay for like fun stuff for me, like new bras and stuff, like that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then it snowballed a lot, and yeah, it's been doing really good.
What do you make a month now? From 400 to.
So I really I don't usually say numbers, but I would say consistently I could usually make at least 5K a month. Like that's minimum.
Jot that down.
This is a sales pitch to me.
Like, but I would say like 5 is like average, like more normal kind of thing. My best month ever, which like I wish I can control the algorithm, because when my TikToks go big, doesn't matter if half of it's negative, the more people that see it, the better it does. And so I think my best month I made 11,000.
Good for you. And that's American, right?
Yeah, but you got to factor in, they pay me out in Canadian, but they don't tax me. So then I pay the taxes. So I'm like, I get American, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of Canadian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder how that's going Facebook.
I don't know.
I've monetized on Facebook recently, so it's pretty good. The first one I ever got, the first payout I got from Facebook was $38, which was like, hey, that's cool, right?
But with that, you can, like, if you give away stickers, write off that batch of stickers, like get a batch of stickers just for giveaways, for promotion, or like do stuff like that. So then you can double down.
I give a lot of stickers away. So
I know you talk about it every now and then.
Boom.
And then you be the accountant as well. The real accountant.
Oh, damn. I was like, Emma, I'm gonna be an accountant too.
Yeah.
Do you think that this will ever, like, doing the OnlyFans will ever be your only source of income?
Yeah, I actually stopped being a medic for a year.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said, yeah.
I just went back in September this past fall because I want to buy a house. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to qualify for as much as I can on my own.
Right.
Yeah. So literally, like, I was looking at my first aid because I needed to redo it. It expired the end of January, and I was like, do I want to redo it? And I was like, you know what? I love the oil field. Like, I genuinely like, just like, I went down to the coast and I'm like Vancouver, I'm like, where's all the diesel trucks? Where's the like where's that rolling coal? Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe that makes sense. It's really expensive down here. That's why they got their Ford Rangers.
Where are the pump jacks at, right?
Yeah.
I hated that going back to Ontario. It's like, where are the pump jacks? You see in a farmer's field somewhere, it's like, where's the pump jacks at? There ain't no pump jacks out here. Where's that? That's not good.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that I decided to redo my ticket, because I do enjoy the work.
Yeah.
And then doing my first aid course, I've done it at the same place with the same lady. This was my 3rd time with her. I did it once, one other time with a different person. So going to the first aid course, I'm like, oh my God, like, it's school. I'm nervous. Like, ooh. She's like, you've been in my class the most out of like everyone, and you're currently working. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm just really nervous. And I had one screw up on my patient assessment. I didn't fill out one of the things. So I got 95% on one and 100% on the other exam. And she's like, I don't know why you were worried. I was like, it's just tests.
I just recently did my confined space for the 3rd time, and going into it, I was nervous too. Right?
I think it's like school, right?
It's a school thing, absolutely. Right? Yeah. It's like confined space. I blow any of those courses, you just blow it out of the water. It's like, damn, I've got all this on-site experience already, and I already know what to expect, right? And like H2S, like,
I need to do that this week.
H2S is like, up until I started working in Fox Creek, like, I didn't understand why I needed it, because like I'd never experienced H2S in my entire life. And now I work on a vac truck. Now H2S is like a very regular part of my job. I didn't tell you that. And like I'm under air a lot, and Fox Creek is notoriously sour, right? So the whole a lot of the area, right? So that's just a part of the thing, and sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, but everyone's worried about the H2S. The H2S will get you right now, right? Enough of it, you're in there. It's the benzenes that are coming back to get you, and anything with a zine in it is coming back to get you in 20 years, right?
Oh yeah.
And as a medic, you would know
that.
She said.
Yeah, sorry, I just got a text. I have multiple phones.
That's crazy. She's like a drug dealer now. Like that's
hey, so I took a year off from being a medic, and I was a dispatcher for a year.
Nice.
I didn't realize dispatcher is keyword for adult babysitter.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I like to make fun of dispatchers a lot, but I could never do the dispatcher's job.
Oh, so much fucking respect for the people who do dispatching. Like, that, like some of the calls.
Yeah.
I think it's like what deal with like grown men who are like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Or women.
Well,
yeah.
Grown people.
I had one guy call me and he's like, my truck broke down and I don't know where I am. And I was like, well, how did you get there? He's like, well, I went to go follow the guys out from site and they went faster than me. And I was like, but didn't you go in that way? He's like, no, we came in a different way. It was like, when you go into location, you're clocking kilometers because you're making a ERP up. So you need to know to give directions to your next command. Like you need the directions to know where you are. So when you drive to a location, like I stop at every corner and I'm jotting down how many kilometers I'm going. So I'm like, okay, so you tried to follow the rig guys out. Did you communicate with them that you were going to follow them out and that they should wait for you? He's like, no. It's like, okay. So what do you see? He's like, well, it's kind of like a dead end, but I see a pump jack. I'm like, okay, there's going to be a sign around the pump jack with a LSD. Can you get me that LSD so I can have some sort of location on you? And it was like the middle of winter, -20, and his truck wouldn't start. So I'm like, fuck, gonna have a popsicle of a medic soon.
Nice.
And then so I called my cross shift, who she's on days off. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm not sure what to do. And she's like, well, there's one guy in the shop. Send him out to go find him. So I send the one shop guy out to go try and find him. After 3 hours, he's like, I can't find him. I'll go up first thing in the morning when it's light. It's dark out now. And I'm like, we can't just leave him there. Mm-hmm. So, and this is I'm in Grand Prairie. So I had to call the Spirit River police and be like, I have a guy who's lost and I don't know where he is, kind of thing. Can you? And he's like, well, I'm not a tow truck. I'm like, I just need him physically brought to safety. And I don't know how to tell a tow truck to get there. He's like, oh, I know where he is. And I'm like, well, perfect. Thanks for helping me out there, sir. So this all started, I think, at 4 p.m. And it was 2:30 in the morning. The tow truck finally brought him into Grand Prairie.
Wow.
So that was probably my worst night. And I was I just driving to and from locations. I know I'm going to be the slowest person and I will pull over whenever I can to let you pass me because it's going to take me a lot longer if I'm in the ditch than if I'm 5 minutes late.
I just hit the ditch. I don't care.
Oh,
that's my thing.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I know. Sometimes I purposely put myself there because it's happened twice where I purposely I just threw her in the ditch because it was the safest thing. Mm-hmm. It was literally the safest thing for me to do at the time. So but my favorite thing about the oil field, no matter where you are, if there's a pump jack or a lease around, it's impossible to get lost, right? It's impossible, right?
Hey, well, south of Grand Prairie, I got lost one time. But that was the Kakwa.
Oh, yeah, down Highway 40.
Yeah, and then the Kakwa, the different roads when you don't know it, and then that was the time I fucked up.
Have you ever stayed at the Capitol Camp?
I think so, yeah.
In
For a
south of
couple days.
GP, there's the Capitol and the
Husky.
yeah, but it's
Or
called
no.
the Musro.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Musro camp. My favorite camp
Yeah.
of not all time, but one of my favorite camps down in the GP area because of the no, the ice cream's good too, but because of the trail mix.
Oh, this one.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Trail mix.
Yeah. Always trail mix.
Oh my gosh. One time, so the one road, this, have you ever been down the Seven Gens road that they have?
The Husky 7 Gens.
So,
It's not even owned by them anymore.
Wild. So I guess
They
that's like 8 years ago or now. I lived in Grand Prairie and worked down there. But the one day I was driving down the road and I was like, something feels wrong with my truck. And I got out, walked around, couldn't figure anything out, drove down, got out, walked around like 5 times. And I was working night shift, so it was like 5:30 in the morning. So I was like, I really don't want to call dispatch and be like, the truck feels a little funny.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You don't want to be that person
I can't put my finger on it, but it feels funny. So then I get to the pavement and I try to get to 100K and don't quite make it, and the back driver's side tire fucking pops off. And I was like, that's what was feeling funny.
Nice. Was that down the Archie?
Oh yeah, the Archie way. That's what it was called.
So
yes.
The Archie, and back then the Archie didn't have cell service at all.
Yeah, so I was lucky that I was within like a kilometer or half a kilometer of the gate at the end. So I got a bit of a signal from the booster. And then my company's like, can you get a ride with someone? I'm like, where? Go on the radio. I'm like, hey, whoever's headed to town next, you want to take one? I'm like, you know, just hopping in some stranger's vehicle. And then the guy that I ended up getting a ride with, he was from my location.
He was from your.
What?
He's not your boy. He's not your roommate.
No, that's a different one. No, Grand Prairie. I met my roommate in Valley View. Good old Valley View. Yeah, I think it was kilometer 16 on the north or South Arc. Yeah. Yeah. I fucking the Simonette. Anytime I pass that Simonette sign, I'm like, that's where it all started, baby.
The Simonette. So at kilometer 52 on the Simonette, you either chain up or you slide off the road. and like I've been with many operators who are like, oh, I can get down this, and they don't slide off the road, but on the way back up, they chain up because they almost slid off the road.
Yeah, you're not allowed to be a truck driver.
Yeah, this is why I'm not getting my class 1 or 3. Like me, every single time, I would not chain up. I hate chaining up. Mm-hmm. And I would just gun it every time.
Yeah, the amount of truckers that get themselves in shit for not chaining up. Like I used to, when I first started, I used to do a lot of drilling rigs too, where I lived on location. And like, so in the spring, there's matting for 2 kilometers, and some of those truck drivers didn't chain up, and so they're sliding off the matting, and the consultant's pissed off because he's now sending one of his guys in the dozer to go put this guy back on the matting because he couldn't chain up.
I feel bad for consultants. Like everyone thinks they have the cushiest job in the world.
Yeah, like, they're even bigger babysitters.
They're worse. They're bigger babysitters than dispatch, right? Like I'm followed by a few consultants, and I have a good friend who's a consultant now because of and he's in GP right now on PD 574, and so every time I come in, he's like, "Hey, you got a sweater for me, or you got stickers for me?" I'm like, "No, did you pay?" Right? Like, I should not make him pay anyways because he's a consultant. But we were talking one day, and he's like, "Man, sorry that the time for the cement job got pushed back like 6 times." He's like, "You know what? Like, it's a pain in my ass because cementers, they're on another job. It gets pushed, so then they have to call me and push it, and then." Oh, the cementers, something happened here along the way, yada, yada, yada. So he's like, now the cementers call me to postpone something. Now I got to call 50 people, 50 different companies and be like, hey, you have to come here. You have to come at this time, And then, like we only see them when their feet are up and they're having a coffee and they're watching TV, right? What we don't see is them pulling their hair out, crying themselves to sleep.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, the only time I really talk to my consultant is when the shitter's full, and I'm like, dude, let's fucking get her sucked out. Come on. Like, I'm gonna start standing on the seat.
I've never
And
had this.
then I
Sorry, go
one night complained about the shitter being full because there was only 2 on location for a frac. And then the one door, the lock didn't work, so it didn't latch in. So then the one that worked was like getting really full. So I was like, yeah, like you got to do something about this. And also, like, hand sanitizer should be normal and should be stocked every time. I don't know. Like, I think these guys should all have pink eye because there's no hand sanitizer in there, but whatever. And
Casey would hate a frack
I would
because
never like even just the story. I'm like, oh my god.
she would hate it
so
because like
then the
fracks
next
are
night,
tomcats.
the consultant on the opposite shift texts me and is like, can you let me know before the shitter gets full? And I'm like, you're like, I didn't take 20 shits today. Like,
frackers are like tomcats. They don't know how to hit the bowl.
yeah. Like, and then my one consultant was joking. He was like, I don't understand who would like marry a fracker because, like, do they do this at home?
That's probably why they do it on site, because they can't get away with it at home.
Yeah.
Weren't you a fracker?
No, I didn't frack.
Oh.
I worked for Frack Shack.
Oh, okay.
I sat in my shack and babysat a computer screen and fell asleep once in a while.
Who let you babysit a computer screen?
Oh no, I fell asleep once, and I don't know if you know who Brad McCulloch is, but he worked for Chevron at the time. Now it's Crescent. Now he works for Crescent Point. I ran into him last week before I went home, and he doesn't recognize me, but he is like one of those consultants, you know, just by the way he talks and how he answers things and carries himself. You don't fuck with him, right?
Yeah.
So I was snoozing hard, and I woke up to an alarm going off on the screen, right? And I'm like, oh shit. And it said one of the pumpers were almost out of fuel. Turns out it was just a little battery. But everyone was like, oh. So I woke up, I went to the screen. As I hit my finger on the screen, Brad walks in. And he's like, I don't need to tell you to stay in your lane, do I? And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, no. So immediately I called my boss because I'm like, hey, if he doesn't hear it from me first, he's going to hear it from him in like 5 minutes. So I called him and told him what happened. And turns out Brad never called him. Didn't even call him. I ratted myself out.
Big move.
Yeah.
I don't care. It was a bold move. It was a big move of me. Big dick energy.
Oh yeah. Well, and like stuff like that, you may as well own up. Like,
right.
You know, it looks way better on you if you're the one to say it.
I think you learn that after enough times, right? Of not owning up.
Oh yeah, no, you don't own up. No, it's karma comes back and gets you every time. Yeah. No, so like now, especially like in the summertime on the road, I also put trucks in ditches, not as often, but like, and I hit things, right? So like whenever they ask, like, hey, did you do this? I'm just like, yep, I did it. Or I just go to them, I'm like, I did it, right? They appreciate my. So once in a while I can lie, and they'll be like, he tells us the truth all the time. So like, you know, so like so the time I do lie, they're like, oh, it wasn't him. Move on to the next person, right? And it's like, get away with one.
Sorry in advance.
Sorry in advance, guys. So I was gonna ask before we got too far away from it, which I think we're kind of too far away from it, but what's it like being a top 1%er?
It's interesting. It like the amount of people who just like slide in my DMs and are like someone will subscribe and be like, yo, let's hang out. And I'm like, you don't know me. Like, honestly, like my biggest thing like that I love is when a guy's like, ask me questions to actually get to know me, because it's like you can tell a fair amount from what I post, but when you actually like are asking me genuine questions, not just about like doing the dirty, then I'm like, okay, that's cool. You see me as more than just something for fun.
Yeah. You're more like
and
that's her woodchuck.
I'm God. But I'm also a bit of a people pleaser, so then like half of them I'm like, haha, yeah, too bad you're too far.
She's not too far from us. She's actually our neighbor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, if you consider 40 minutes, a neighbor. But
Yeah.
no, that's crazy. And then, just I don't know where Lydia falls into that, what percentage she's in. It's got to be high up there, though, obviously. But
Oh, yeah. She's making like a couple mil a year. Like, I think last year she said she paid 500,000 for taxes on
that's
TikTok.
crazy.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I can't imagine. Like, yeah, that's wild. And like, but she's also been doing it for like 4 years. She's built it, like, and like, I've kind of like, I know I'm not gonna go and get a job at a Bible camp anytime soon. Like, I know I've definitely like, I don't know if that was just like I know I'm not gonna go get like a super vanilla job that like in my future, because that's the other thing is like now that I've done that, I have put a big barricade between me and lots of future stuff. Like, I can't do that now.
Which isn't right.
But
I don't like that.
Like, I could see in 10 years attitudes start to change about that kind of thing, because you already kind of see attitudes changing about it.
Yeah.
Like with like Anna Paul, and like Anna Paul's she's on OF, but she's a super giant TikToker and kids love her. Like young girls love her. But like I can see like, in 10 years attitudes change differently towards that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh yeah. Well, especially because it's like the younger generations that know about it kind of thing. Because I actually just told my mom the other day. And it went really well. Like, I knew it would. Like, I have amazing parents. They're separated, but they both are so supportive of me. So telling my mom was like super chill. I told her because one of my cousins found me on TikTok, and then she texted me and was like, "Oh, you're on TikTok? I want to see them," because she did like the Wednesday dance with her friends on TikTok, and I'm like, I don't know if you want to see my TikTok. Huh? So I was like, told her, I was like, I'm totally open. Whatever you want to ask me. But no, once you ask me and I tell you, you can't unknow that. So just be aware what you want to know.
I think parents got to be more, open to this being a thing in the future, right? Like if my daughters ever started that, like I don't know how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
I don't want to even.
I don't want to think
daughters
about
are.
No, you can't even.
Yeah, but
like that's not a. But in the future, that's something that you'll have to cross down the road if it does happen.
Richard
like
has this fun game where he thinks that he plays out scenarios in his head that never have happened, but he plays them out in his head.
But how many of them come true?
Some of them come true.
How many of them? How many? You say some. How many of them?
Some.
A few. Quite a few. Quite a few. I like to read the room, right? I read the room and I watch people's mannerisms and their character, and I see how people interact with each other, and then I go to Casey and I'm like, hey, this is gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen, and then like a couple months down the line it'll happen, and I'm like, told you so.
Is there any way we could pause this for 2 minutes?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Or do I just duck out for 2 minutes?
It's just you. I'll keep it running, and then I can edit it out.
Okay, somehow. Cool.
I can edit.
All right. Sorry, I just have to run upstairs. I got a text quickly. I need to help find a stuffed animal. Hello.
Hello. Oh. Stuffed animal recovered.
Not quite, but I got backup on it.
What kind of stuffed animal is missing?
A lamb.
A lamb.
A lammy.
We our kids are not into that. Our kids are not attached to any stuffed animal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like I wanted them to
so be. Nice. So
I
nice.
wanted them to be so badly. I think Rory we got Rory a Wednesday.
We got her a Wednesday doll.
A Wednesday doll. She's a very she's very dark. And she loves Wednesday. So we got a lady make her a crocheted Wednesday thing. So cute.
Yeah.
Her birthday when she's turning 3 in March.
She's sadistic. Yeah. I love it.
She's a little sadistic. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I was like, I got a box of fabric. We can do some sewing. And apparently we're going to make voodoo dolls this week.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So kids are weird these days, I feel like.
Yeah. And like, oh, what was Squid Game? Like, they love that. And they're like playing that on the playground. And I'm like,
yeah. Rory's gonna be the one that is like, have you seen Wednesday? Do you know what Tyler does?
Do you know what Tyler is?
Yeah.
Tyler
He's a hide.
He's a hide. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Kills people.
Yeah. Spoilers there.
So before we go any further, I guess you want to plug your social medias? Just tell people where they can find you.
I just generally say Google EmmaStoned with a D 420. And then you can choose, like, if you're looking at TikTok, I go with EmmaStoned, and then I just throw another number on because I've lost a couple accounts. But EmmaStoned.
Typed your name into a search, so I don't know.
EmmaStoned 4.0 is kind of my biggest account right now on TikTok. I have 110,000 followers.
Nice.
But I lost 2.0 last March with 160,000, so that was sad.
That was the most amount you've had on TikTok?
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty good. I hope maybe one day I'll get there. I'm only 100,000 away.
Yeah, but
so like
you're
I got 2,000 because I had like one video, I've had a couple videos go like over 200,000, and it was because I said I was a whore in the video. And like it just went like, it's still going, like it goes every day. I get like creepy followers because of it, and I'm like, oh, this is not what I was going for, but okay.
Yeah.
We'll just go with it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you can follow Mrs. Frost at KFrost103.
Yeah, 10-3.
Yeah.
103 is the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, but no. So Emma over here, she top 1%. I think we were talking about that.
Yes.
Right. And yeah, you've rubbed shoulders with some pretty high profile people now, right? And that's how many subscribers do you have on OF, if you don't mind me asking.
Today I think I have like 575.
So is it like, so I don't know how OnlyFans works because I don't use OnlyFans, but like, is it like a monthly based thing? Like they pay per month and then per
so it's
photo?
Like Netflix. Like Netflix, you pay, like mine's $14.99 a month. So they pay for that monthly. When you start it, you get like 30 days from like the time you start it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then on my paid page, I don't do any pay-per-view. Like sometimes if it's like old DMs, because I'm like, I want people who have been here for a year to have a little exclusive content because they've paid for that for the year. So I do try and put more in my DMs, but like it's honestly just me being goofy, and I'm like, I hope they think this is kind of sexy. I think it's kind of funny. Like, but and that's the thing is like when I first started, a couple guys told me, they're like, because I was like, oh, like I don't know if I have the body or the personality or this and that, and they're like, just be you. Like people are there because they like your personality. They like what you're giving off. And I'm like, okay. And I'm so thankful that I didn't try to like make a fake persona because it is mentally hard. Like that is probably the hardest part of the job is mentally like taking all the shit that people say to me on TikTok. Like there's one guy who consistently calls me a bimbo on all my videos. And I'm like, okay, dude, like I'm not going to block you because help my algorithm, but like why? Like
Casey just blocks.
I block and I filter comments. Like anything that has to do with like, because there's always like that stereotypical like a workaway husband with a stay-at-home wife, they're cheating on them. So I filter like words like cheating are filtered. a bunch of different words are filtered. When I do, because I do a lot of like Penelope's, our oldest daughter's, like her lunches. So like
I watch those religiously. Like I'm here for those lunches.
So I filter words like diet and like too much sugar and like stuff like that, because I find diet culture so toxic. So like I don't want anything even remotely close to my kids for that. So I filter those comments so I don't get so I don't repeat them to my kids, or anybody else doesn't repeat them to my kids. So I filter a lot of comments. Yeah. I have a lot of words.
If I didn't, like, because literally in my position, any advertising is kind of good advertising. Yeah. Because for the one person talking shit, I'm going to get 5 people who are in my corner who go and like, and it's so funny because I've literally like, I've hit the point where now I get like, I have a good group of Oilfield wives that like you, like so, that I get along with. And I like, it's awesome to like talk and stuff. And then people are like, the ones that hate, I'm like, okay, you need to reassess your life and what's going on, because if there's something with you and your thing, that's not me. Like, I honestly, like, married men are not attractive to me. Like, that's kind of gross. Like, so that's really gross.
So funny. So we're literally talking about this, like, probably a couple days ago. I'm in this, like, group called The Crazy Lives of Oilfield Wives. Okay? Crazy stuff happens in it. It's good, just, you know, just little read sometimes.
Yeah.
So, we talk, and a lot of it is, there's a lot of negative stuff about wives versus, like, and I say versus as in like they would put it that way, I wouldn't put it that way, as like women who work in the patch. I don't see it that way. I'm married. I trust my husband, and that's on me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it should be glorified, which is obviously, I'm sure you saw some of the stuff that happened last year with the mistress account, the Oilfield mistress account. And I just don't think that women in the patch, and most don't, you never have, should be talking about sleeping with husbands. And I just think it's just such a bad misconception. And I don't want that on them. Like, I know Emma. I you know what I mean? Like, why would I want that for Emma, for Courtney Vale, for any of those other medics who work with them day in and day out? They're trying to just keep them safe. They don't give a shit. You guys don't give a shit about the husbands and the. Courtney Vale put it like, they're disgusting. No, that was Nicolette Mudsloot who put it as like, ew, they're disgusting. I smell them all day like that. I do not want to be. I have no interest in, especially when they're married. And I think that is such like a powerful thing. Like, you can be on OnlyFans, you can be and not glorify sleeping with married men. And I think that's such for you to have such a big platform to say like, no, I don't even want to think about that. Yeah. Courtney Vale, no, that's not a thing I want to think about. It's gross.
Yeah. Well, and like but like sometimes I do like the pass smash. I put roughneck, derrickhand, driller, and consultant because I know what I'm doing. Like, and it's funny because some people are like, oh my God, like, and then the comments went from like, oh, she's in it for money. And I'm like, honey, I'm actually one of the rare girls who believes in 50-50, if not like, I'm in the position now where like if I have a partner and I want to go on a trip, I would pay for said trip because we're gonna make content, and like that's something that I'm able to do.
Right.
Like
I saw actually your video, and I thought like it was done very appropriately. Like, considering you're still like you're talking about people you work with, you weren't saying specific people. Like, you weren't like this guy, and you didn't mention like, you know, so the whole married thing, right? Like, which is such like, which wives, and I get it, some men are dogs. And so like, for a wife to be at home worrying, of course that's going to suck. And like, I have a lot of past trauma about cheating because of my dad. So like, for me, it's like, hi Dad, I hope you're not listening. But
I mean, thanks for staying along this far if he has.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just such a like a good thing that women in the patch and a lot of women on that group have like who work in the oil field along with their husbands have said like no.
Yeah.
It's just such a powerful thing, like for them not to be like, I can be my own person. I don't have to go to your husband, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
me.
in the end of the day, if the husband's doing something, if he's going to be a dirtbag, he's going to be a dirtbag no matter where he goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I took a little bit of heat for stitching. I think her name's Kira, right? Kira?
The drilling chick.
The drilling chick. I took a little heat for stitching
the
her
camp
video.
one.
Yeah, you stitched it too, right?
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took a little heat for it, right? They're like, "Oh, now all of a sudden you're supporting mistresses," and I'm like, "Where in the video did she say she was knocking on a married man's door?" Right? She was just like going door
and I
to
think
door,
that's
right?
like
or not
a
door
very
to door, one door,
a different thing.
Yeah.
As a single woman and a single man, and like with you, right? Like it's a single woman and a single man in a camp. That's a totally different story than talking about a man with a married man.
And that's why I stay away from camp, because I don't want that close of quarters with anyone. Like,
yeah,
I think the last time I was in camp was 2020, and I'm like, see, like that's especially now because like so many chicks just hate me right away, which I find funny because I'm like, my best friends, I was like thinking about it earlier. I'm like, our nurses, healthcare aides, medics, paramedics, like pretty much all my best friends are in healthcare and they're just super bubbly and friendly like me. So like when they see stuff, like I have other people who are like medics on here who are like, oh my God, like you're so funny. And like they know like I do poke sometimes, but it's just because I want to get the views and I think I'm funny. Like it's not.
I honestly, I've never seen a video of yours that I've been like, oh, really? Like, I don't think I've ever seen something that I've been like, you would know.
Like cringe.
Yeah, like, oh, really? You know, like, you've always been very, like, respectful, but funny. Like, I mean, there's comedy to, you know, your day-to-day life in everybody's life, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what you do, too, right? You make comedic videos about your day-to-day.
Yeah, we're all in a shitty situation, right? It's how you deal with that situation, right? How you deal with it and how you view it, right? And like I can see the humor in it. It's not I'm not trying to glorify it, right? I hate shit. You know, there's a lot happening. We're all missing home. We're all missing loved ones, and you know what? On top of that, we're just being shit on all day long, right? And like there's comedic gold there, right? It's like, and people are like, oh, this guy, like, look at him, you know, loving his slave master. It's like, bro, you don't think I know that, like, you know, I'm making someone else rich? But in the meantime, while I'm working all those hours and this guy over here is getting rich, I'm putting food on my family's table, right? Like, sure, working 15 hours, the government just loves me. They take me from behind, right? And but yeah, some guy over there, he made a lot more than I did, but I still made a lot, and I still put food on my table, clothes on my kids' back, you know, a roof over my family's head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I don't work. Like I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, she gets to be a stay-at-home mom, and in this economy. And in this economy and with the inflation the way it is with one income, you know, how many other people can say that they can do that? Yeah, outside of the right?
Totally. Like the economy is ridiculous. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And like honestly, stay-at-home mom is one of the hardest jobs in the world because like mentally, like
you don't get
sometimes I'm like, how did a child just make me feel so small?
So I'm lucky my kids are young still. So like my oldest one now is in school. Our oldest is in school and she's starting to like a little bit of our younger one is more mean than our older one.
Mean.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, how do you fit so much grumpy in this little body?
No kidding.
She's saucy. So, you know, a lot of people, like we were saying, a lot of people pit oil field wives against blue collar oil field workers,
women, and
blue collar women workers.
Blue collar women, yeah.
And I just think like there's such a power in, you know, talking to your husband. Like if our marriage rules were you can't talk to any women, if that was our marriage rules and he didn't respect that, that's on our marriage and that's on him, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that the people that have such an issue with it don't have a great relationship. They don't, you know, communicate inside their relationship, and that spills out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the best way to explain it. Like, but like I've never seen any of Emma's videos and been like, oh God, I have to block her. Like she just did, you know what I mean? Like I've never complained.
She's probably like challenge accepted.
I've never been like, yeah, no, this is too
much. I made
much.
that one video. It's like when and it was kind of a joke geared towards what you just said. I made the one video and it's like when the female when the blue collar female girl shows up on site and all the men know, right? And you can smell her, right? It's the kind of shit that make the hood go crazy, right? And that was kind of a joke that was like not dedicated, but directed towards that. And in the caption I wrote, heading down the freeway to see my wife right now, right? And driving home to see my wife right now. And so many people, they don't read the captions. They're just like, they're just like, or they don't read the comments either to see what you're also writing in the comment section, being like, hey man, I love my wife and I'm going home to see her right now. The woman showed up on site. You could smell her perfume or whatever. And it was like, hey, I miss my wife. I'm going home. See you later.
Or men.
Right?
Like,
or men.
In general. Yeah. But like, I think like as a medic, I feel like there's such a stereotype against you, right? Like, because you see it. I don't know if it's that way in real life, because I've never worked in the oil field.
There's no stereotype.
Because I only see it on TikTok. And like the way some people talk about medics is awful.
Absolutely.
In those oil field wives group, it's it's wild.
Yeah. And like some of my medic friends are like, I just need to reply to this comment and be like, show me on the doll where I hurt you. Like, what did I do to you? Because like I didn't do anything. You clearly were in a shitty relationship, it sounds like, and he cheated on you with a medic or something.
Yes.
Which like, and I don't want to be that person. Like, I don't want to be a home wrecker. I don't want to break up marriages. Like, I'm not into that by any means. And like, honestly, I feel bad because some of the guys that I talk to, they're like, I can't keep up. Like, it's almost like every couple months she's got a new payment for me. And he's like one guy was like, I need to get divorced because it will save me money because I can't afford to pay for this life that she wants. Like, yeah, when we got together, I was making good money, but I still make the same amount and inflation and 4 kids. And like she wants everything and more. And it's like, that's the other thing you got to realize is like, yeah, okay, like someone's on the road doing the work, and then some wives are like, oh, I resent you because you're always gone. And it's like, well, what do you want? Like, how do you win that one? Like, you need to have
like a relationship thing that people just they are afraid. Maybe I don't know what the exact wording would be like. Like if me and Richard, sorry, I'm gonna call you Richard. Me and Richard have a problem. Like we'll just discuss it with each other, like rather than like. And it's such a sad thing to see in any person's relationship that they can't discuss that with their partner. Instead, and they have to go and talk to somebody else, and like not work it out between each other because you have to. At the end of the day, like we're a partnership, right?
Our shit's with each other, right? Not you.
Yeah, like Casey goes and buys 3 new vehicles, you're gonna be like, whoa, like I don't think I can make this work on my wage, kind of thing. Like, but like you go and you have that conversation, but like. So then I'm just like the medic and I'm like, you're coming for a smoke and telling me this? Like, I feel so bad for you. Cause it's like, especially cause like when I'm on site, I'm not like I know what I'm doing when I'm on TikTok and I make TikToks. Like when I get out of my truck, I zip up my coveralls. Like I put on my hard hat. Like I honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw me across location and thought I was a dude. Like, it's not like I go around, I'm like, hey, boys. Like, I'm not like that.
So important distinction, right? Like, I think that, like, a lot of people who have the need to say anything is like, you, at the end of the day, at your job, you're professional.
Oh yeah.
As a medic, as in the oil field, in anything, you're professional and you do what you have to do, and you're not.
I mean, I don't know about UFA. I'm getting kind of wild with my dancers there.
I mean,
like, so that's the other thing. And like people, like I'm like, I just do that stupid dance because it always gets me thousands of views.
The comments in some of those videos that I've seen are like, ew. Like,
oh yeah. So
why are you saying this to a stranger on the internet? Like, even Richard gets like, who says this kind of stuff to strangers on the internet?
Yeah, like what Emma said, it helps her push her algorithm.
Yeah,
I get that. I feed into it too, but like sometimes I sit back and I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, how do you feel okay saying that to another person? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people take videos and they take like
as Bible,
right? Some people take like 10-second clips of you and they're like, my God, that person is like that in real life. Holy shit. You know, like that 10-second clip, that's them. Right? Yeah. My favorite one is, how do you
I'm sure Emma gets like quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure.
Oh, 100%. I've seen some of the comments on her pages.
Oh like, yeah. It's funny. And like, but I'm happy that I have thick enough skin that it doesn't bother me most of the time. Sometimes. Like every now, like very rarely I will like delete something or like hide something and I'm like, oh, okay, that really hit. Because I've deleted that. But I'm like, how sad is your one chick was like, my husband shows me these ridiculous things all the time, like barf face. And I commented back and I'm like, I can't imagine being married to someone and have nothing better to talk about than someone you don't like on TikTok.
Man, it's crazy how people like, they'll literally take their valuable time out of their life to come and write a mean comment somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's like I saw a video and it's like, hey, if someone takes time out of their life to come and say something mean to you, feel sorry for them, right?
They're fan.
Well, kind of, but feel sorry for them. They've been hurt at some point in time where they want to hurt you back, right? They're searching for someone to hurt, right? And I got a comment last year about my husband worked in the oil field. He didn't call me. He cheated on me, yada yada yada, and that's why I don't like the oil field. I'm like, that doesn't sound like an oil field problem. That sounds like your marriage problem, right?
Yeah, completely.
That was a problem. Don't blame the industry for issues going on in your marriage, right? Like, and he messaged me afterwards. He's like, that was my wife. Like, he DM'd me. He's like, sorry, my wife went on an unhinged rant. We're having issues. Yeah. And, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to know about your issues, man. You know, like, it's sad that you guys are going through that. You should deal with that, right? Like, but yeah, like, don't take out your marital issues on one industry. Be like, oh, hey, I don't like the oil field because this, that. I don't know if you've listened to any of the other episodes or if you listen to the previous podcast that I was part of, but we had a couple of good guests on where Benny, Notorious Canuck, he said, and it's like this for infidelity too, but he said the industry gets a bad rap for drugs and alcohol. He's like, most people aren't there to drink and most people aren't doing drugs, right? If you go to hang out at a bar after work, you're going to see the drinkers. 100% of the people in the bar are going to be there drinking. Well, I go there and hang out, but I'm not drinking.
But you're not there every night.
I'm not there every night. I go to be the DD, right? So, 99.9% of the people at the bar are going to be there drinking. So that's all you're going to see is, oh, this is the patch, right? You know, and 100% if you're going to end up in a den somewhere or looking for some things off the street, or if you're looking for it, you're going to find it always, right? Same with fidelity. Mudsloot said one time, most of the men are just there to put in their hard day's work, make their money, and go home to their family, right? And,
and also, like, the other thing that people don't realize is, like, after you work a 12 to 14-hour day, like, even though my job isn't physical, mentally, I'm exhausted. Like, I'm done. Like, it takes me, like, everything to go to the gym. So the people who are out drinking and partying and doing whatever, they're the ones who are like, they're making poor choices already, because they're the ones who are after 14 hours thinking like, oh, I can go, I mean, I've done it before, like have a couple drinks and that'll be it. And then I usually just drink too much. I don't do other stuff. But I see the other people do the other stuff and I'm like, makes sense, because how are you going to stay up after working physically 14 hours a day or whatever? Like, and so now, like, especially like nowadays, like the crew that I work with regularly, like I would say they're 30 to 50 respectful guys who, like, you know, they have like decent home lives, like, and they go and do their shit. Like the odd time Buddy takes off because he's got his kids' hockey on the weekend. And I'm just like, it's so nice working with those kind of people, because I'm not worried that they're gonna fuck up because they were out partying the night before and didn't get any sleep.
That's the other thing of being a medic, is like, you want to be, you want your crew to be safe, right? Because you like, you're in charge of them, really. Like, you're in charge of their safety, right?
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, the only time I've had incidents is when guys have cut corners. Like, it's literally all the incidents have happened because people cut corners. Like, one guy went down from H2S because it was a sour well and they thought they were just going to bleed it off. I don't know. Even though the H2S guy was coming tomorrow, but, you know, we'll just do this today. Like, and I was like, okay, so like on that site, the consultant, the tool push, the derrick hand, like multiple people knew exactly what they were doing and risking. And like everywhere, and if not, you're working for the wrong people. Safety's number one. Don't save the company money. They're not gonna fucking give you a finger or whatever you get back. Like, don't cut any corners to save a company money, because they're just trying to make it off you.
Kids are awake now, so or one of them is awake. She's running in to go help them out. But what I was going to ask, and I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it, or you don't have to say names or anything like that, but what's the craziest or the scariest incident you've witnessed or been a part of?
So my very first hitch in the patch, I was living on location of a drilling rig. I think it was like PD, I want to say 525 or something. It was a good old PD rig. And it was my first time being on a rig. I'm like, this is cool. We had an H2S guy. He sat at the entrance and did kind of lease control. So I just literally sat in my shack, had to go to the 2 safety meetings a day up in the doghouse. So that was like, I'm like, okay, don't trip walking up the stairs or walking down them. Like, literally, like, okay, you just go and stand in there. You got this. Yeah. Like, and so then I was sitting in my shack watching Jersey Shore because, you know, GTL was in at the time. And the H2S alarm went off. And I was like, oh, our weekly drill. Like, I'm used to this. I'm ready for it. Like, I have my coveralls hung up by the door because that job, you didn't have to wear coveralls in your shack. So I just would put them on when I'm outside. So I'm like, okay, like, got to go throw my coveralls on. We got an H2S drill. I look out my window and there's smoke from behind the drilling rig. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the real deal.
This is the real
so
deal.
I'm like, even more like, you know, like Power Rangers going to fucking put on their suit, like kind of like, this is my time to shine. So as I am going out there with all my bags and stuff to the one muster point, the one lease hand started running towards the pickup because he's trying to just get the fuck out of there. And so then the tool push is like, get over here, like yelling at him. He's like, oh, he goes over there. And then luckily there was someone out there from the oil company and they saw what happened. It was, and I might be wrong because it was 10 years ago now, but there was a pylon that had an extension cord on it, like one of the, where it meets, the little, you know, connector, whatever it's called. But there was one of those, and there was also a pressurized tube of base oil or some sort of oil or something. I don't know.
Or some sort of oil. It doesn't matter what it is.
There was a pressurized tube of something. And so the extension cord ended up shorting out and burning a hole in the tube of pressurized oil. So that ended up igniting and shooting 40 feet in the air onto the sawdust pile. Thank God.
Lucky.
Because 40 feet to the left was a tank farm.
That's not good.
So that someone saw what happened, got the line shut in, fire extinguishers was put out like pretty quick kind of thing. Like everyone had really good reactions. And that I think was 2.5 weeks into my hitch because I was only supposed to be there for 3 weeks. And the company's like, oh, we need you to stay for another week. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to bring me groceries. So I'm like standing outside after, like, what the fuck just happened? And I was like, okay, this is why I'm out in the field, because stuff like this happens. And if someone would have been under that, like I would have had a burn victim. And so like that was 3 weeks into my medic career. And I was like, okay, so this is why we're out here, because catastrophes can happen. And then my dispatcher brought me out groceries and he's like, oh, what are you doing? Like standing out here in full PPE. I was like, did you not see like the clouds of smoke driving up the highway? Like we just had a fire. He's like, oh. And then the next day I saw a lot of brand new coveralls because a lot of head honchos came up from Calgary.
Oh yeah, you gotta love it when clean coveralls and white hats are around.
Yeah.
I just disappear. I'm just like, hey, like one time I was standing there and like this woman from I'm not gonna say what oil company it was, but she was standing there. She had her white hard hat on and very, very, very clean coveralls, and I was like, all right, so don't say anything offensive around her. And then she like got on her phone and she's like, we're gonna need to implement more procedures. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. So I just walked away. It's like, how many more procedures do you need, right? And obviously there's a procedure for a reason. You know, something's happened somewhere along the way. So yeah. But yeah, one of my favorite things with medics on TikTok anyway is I see in the comment section is like a lot of people think you guys are just useless and you don't do anything, right? And like I make jokes, but like I always say in the thing in the comment section or even in the caption, I'm like, hey, we love these guys, we need them, they're important, right? And but like, you know, we really don't want you guys doing anything, right? If you're moving, that's bad for everyone.
Completely. And every now and then I get a medic in my comment section being like, can you stop ruining our name? Da da da. And I'm like, I replied to one and I was like, I'm really sorry that the people that you work with don't respect you. But that kind of goes to show what kind of crew you're working with, because you don't just judge everyone the same. Like, oh, medics, like if your point is you think they're useless and they're just out here for attention, whatever. Okay, well, that's your thought and opinion. But, you know, some people are going to really appreciate that they're there to help in life-saving procedures.
Yeah, like, I've been a medic a couple times. One time I got something went right through my finger, like in one side and out the other. And, you know, the medic...
Switching, just thinking about it.
The medic, well, it wasn't that bad actually, but the medic just like scrubbed it, put a Band-Aid. That's all you guys can do. You guys aren't there to perform like crazy procedures. So you got to wait till the ambulance or the air shuttle shows up, stars, right? And, you know, you're there basically just to like, you know, keep things calm and situated and under control until, you know, help arrives.
Oh, yeah. I've always said, like, I'm there to stabilize and transport if needed, but that's it. Like, I had one guy on a drilling rig who he came and he's like, I got a bit of a rash on my legs from where, like, his rubber boots were rubbing. I'm like, I'm not a doctor, sir. Like, if it's genuinely bugging you, then I would ask the consultant to go to town and maybe see a doctor, get some lotion or something. He's like, okay. He's like, I'm making a roast for dinner. Did you want to come over?
He broke the ice.
I was like, you just told me about how your legs have a rash and now you're inviting me for dinner. Smooth.
Let me just look at this rash. See if roast beef is worth it.
That's funny. Casey, do you have any questions for Emma?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't. Did I have a question that I didn't?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I didn't write anything down, so I just did.
Which is weird. She did doodles the whole time. So.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
If
there's a pen in my hand though, it's bad.
This is why I don't have a pen and paper with me when I'm doing these. When I'm doing the
podcast.
My
autograph though.
I do it by the wing of my by the flight of my pants, by the wing of my pants, by the wing of my. I don't know.
Your pants.
I do it by the
seat of your pants.
I let it go. You know what I mean? The chaos, it goes however it goes. And then, you know.
I know. I just think like if you had like a thought, like you could like, okay, if she mentioned something and then you by accident you went on to someone else, you could write it down.
I'm very good at coming back to
things.
We learned that in episode 2. We literally went on a rant for 25 minutes and then I stopped and went back and like, so.
Oh, yeah. I've listened to other podcasts and it was funny because I was like, honestly, like when you're like, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes. And I was like, I've heard that a couple times.
You love saying.
I love saying meat and potatoes.
He doesn't even like potatoes though.
I don't like potatoes. Potatoes are
You don't like potatoes?
No. Not even a little bit. In camp,
like, do you like French fries?
Yeah, not really.
He's not really. No, he'd rather have salad
or
something else.
What?
Yeah,
he's weird.
Like oh my god,
roast beef or chicken, and he'll eat it. He'll eat it if it's mine, but like he won't eat like other.
I'm putting on my best show.
Yeah. I don't care. Like Aurora loves mashed potatoes. Our youngest loves mashed potatoes. So like. Yeah. She likes to eat them.
So I got, I think, 2 questions before we wrap this up a little bit here. One, we said something about a Power Ranger. Which Power Ranger would you be?
Oh, I don't know.
On the spot. If you gotta answer.
Yeah, no, Kate. I don't know, Kate. But that I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hoodie that I wear. And so whenever I wear that, every now and then I'll get the comment like, who's your favorite? And I'm like, well, how do I pick? Because I'd take them all.
Oh, shit. Turtles in a hat.
And like, did you know that Power Rangers actually have like a spicy spoof video?
No,
I watched it for research purposes.
Did you know that Toy Story has a spicy spoof video?
It's not real.
It is. I've watched it.
No, but I'm Googling that tonight.
Called Toy Story, The Gang Meets Mom's New Toy.
I don't think that's real. I think that's like an urban legend.
No, I've seen it. It was on late night TV when I was like 15. No. I was hanging out with Hainer.
Yeah. There's no way that it was on TV.
It was that
would be a definite violation of the CRTC.
It was like 2000 and something.
They
it was early 2000s. So I thought you were going to say the Green Ranger, give a shout out to the Green Ranger and make him blush, but I almost hung out with him a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
know the Green Ranger.
I know the Green Ranger. I haven't seen him around in a while.
He was in Fox. He got a new job, so he's been really, really busy.
Oh yeah, actually, last time I talked to him, he was up in Grand Prairie, and now that I'm not in Grand Prairie, everyone and their dogs like, when are you coming back? I'm like,
never.
I'm like, but low key, my brother lives in Chetwynd, so I might do a little road trip up that way this spring.
Road trip. So yeah. I guess one more question for you, and I guess it'll be. I've never asked anyone this question before. Someone asked me this question once. If you have your own Mount Rushmore of people that you like inspire to be or be like, or that inspire you and you look up to, 4 people that are on your Mount Rushmore, go.
Oh, okay. So I would probably put Lydia Grace.
Yeah.
Jessie Switch.
Who's that?
She's a Edmonton corn creator, and she's amazing. She's been in the industry for about 7 years. Last year, like, she had her mom work for her and like be a personal designer, shopper, assistant kind of thing. And last year she bought her mom a house and was like, you're retiring. I bought you a house. And I'm like, that would be so amazing. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to get to the point where I buy my parents a house, but like, I'll have a nice vacation house that you can come summer at. Like,
that's cool.
But yeah. And and she's like very genuine and self-aware, and like I think she's 7 years sober or 8, which is another super cool thing. And she's just very straight up and realistic, and I just love her personality. So those two. I don't like, now that I'm thinking TikTok, like Jake and Rich is just like slapping me in the face, but I'm like, what's he really doing for my Mount Rushmore?
I was gonna say that's
Besides
not the
just
only thing
living in my
slapping you.
dreams.
That's not the only thing slapping you in the face when you watch his
I
video.
know, yeah.
He's Albertan too.
Yeah, he's an Albertan too. Yeah.
I know he is. For the other two, I don't know. Because I'm like just thinking about like big creators that like make millions and like live good lives, because like that's kind of what I inspire to do. But like I also like,
I see this one on TikTok a lot. What's her name? Isla Moon. I see her a lot.
I was just gonna say Isla Moon was gonna be my next one, and then for my fourth one, I'm gonna put my best friend Megan in, because she keeps me grounded. She's my number one. Like, I really should go to therapy, but instead I have her. So I just talk to her. It's way cheaper. And getting my nails and lashes done, I just think that's a better investment. Because the other thing about like, I genuinely would love to go to therapy, but I don't want to pay someone who's going to judge me. And I feel like where I'm at in my life, I need to find someone who would really be open, because I am kind of like, especially for like older, like anyone over 40, I feel like they don't understand what it's like. Now it's like online things, you can make a shit ton of money, and like you can respect yourself. And like that's another thing. Like when I told my mom, actually her thing was, are you safe, and like do you like feel respected, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, like I'm my own boss, I choose what I want to do, I choose who I work with, and I actually am like feel the best about myself that I've ever felt. And that's even with all the negative comments I get.
That's awesome. I love
right?
that.
I think like that's super important that you.
I think
for that type of job, it's so important that you.
And with that mindset too, right? Like that gives, once again, that gives like the next generation of young women something to look up to, right? Like, hey, this doesn't have to be trashy. This doesn't have to be, self-deprecating. Maybe I don't know. This doesn't have to be. Like I can be safe. Control. I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of everything that happens here. And the moment it crosses the line, I can say no.
Yeah, totally. And that's the other thing, because like also like degrading is a word that gets thrown around, and it's like, no, like honestly, like when it's not on your terms, it could be super degrading. But like since I'm in control of what I want to do, and I also like, even with social media, like you have the power to block people. Like I think I've only blocked 2 guys, and that's because they asked about animal stuff, and that's just not okay.
That's where the peanut butter comes in, right?
Yeah, so that I found out that's really where my hard line is because like consent is sexy. Consent is key. Like, and 100%. So that's another huge thing is I have that, and I have that standard that I want that.
So what she was saying about how self-respect and whatnot, and you feel empowered and whatnot. There is a Playboy bunny, former Playboy bunny, that's on OF, and she said she made more on OF in 1 year than she made like with Playboy for over a number of years, because Playboy like took advantage of her. They took a lot of her money, whereas here she gets to keep whatever, I don't know how much you guys get to keep, but she got to keep the majority of it.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, is you set your own prices. Like sometimes I'm like, ooh, is $14.99 too much? And then I'm like, no, I'm sticking with that. Like, I'm a good Big Mac meal. Like I saw one guy make a TikTok like that, and I'm like, Yeah, but like if you add those Big Mac meals up, 575 of them, like fuck, I don't mind.
Did you? Oh, I got a question. I've been dying to know too. Did you get to make content in the Trippy House?
I did, but it was just solo.
Whatever. Content is
But
content,
yeah.
and that
Oh
makes it
yeah.
even more of an amazing trip for you, right? Because like
Yeah.
I said, you got to go to Mecca, like you're Mecca, and then you got to like what's the word for that?
Was it Mecca because it was the expo? Because like stuff doesn't happen in Las Vegas that often, right? It was the expo that you went to, right?
No, she went
Yeah,
to
and
Yeah, but it was
me
the
and my
expo.
one, yeah, the Adult Entertainment Expo.
Oh,
And
okay.
so me and my one girlfriend had talked about going down to the Trippy House, but we're like, oh, like who knows? Because when you go to the Trippy House, you don't know if Lydia's gonna be there or not. And so then when this popped up, I was like, okay, she's gonna be there. I could go to the Trippy House and I can just go, and I met like some other amazing people that I would have never met. And so that was super cool. And like also like I met a couple dominatrixes, and holy, I wish I had that in my bones. I feel like I'm just a little too nice to be a dominatrix, but
Like people with whips and chains and spikes and shit, and you're
no, like
what's your
like
password?
fendom. So it's like financial domination.
Wow. So like they're
So
just
it's
like, I
like
make more money than you,
if
and you
you
love
want
it.
me to give you the time of day, you're gonna send me something, and then I'll send you a picture, or I'll like it's more like you're in control, and like just, and I don't even really know it because I've never gone into that branch, but I'm just like, that would be so amazing to just like, and that's what some guys want, is just to you to tell them what to do.
Yeah, I don't care. You tell me what to do all the time.
I am the boss. I'm the boss
She's
for
the
sure.
boss. Do the
Yeah.
dishes.
You,
Yes,
you.
master.
I'm not like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Say ma'am.
I hate the word ma'am. When anyone calls me ma'am, I'm like, thanks. I think you're trying to be respectful, but ma'am makes me feel like I'm an old lady.
Yeah.
It's like, sir.
Oh, so then
Sir.
one guy in my comments the other day, he went because I was live, and I was like, "Oh, thanks for saying ma'am, but I don't really like it." Then he's like, "Okay, sir," and I was like, "Oh, you did."
Oh.
Like, but it's all fun and games. Like,
You tell you, Jen.
honestly, if you can't laugh at yourself, like, then what's life?
So, as a straight man, I just have to say, as a straight man who's very comfortable in his sexuality and loves his wife, anytime I see Jake Enrich's videos pop up anywhere, I get sweaty. Like, I know it's coming every time, right? I know every time I know it's coming. I just don't know how, and I don't know when, right? When at the end, but like I don't know how it's coming at me.
Some thoughts are
right?
inside thoughts.
No, come on, 20 years. Come on, you know that.
Like,
Those are things inside thoughts.
Honestly, I'm just envious. He's got a blue check on TikTok. And I'm like, I can only imagine if I could just like hold a towel up here with no support and post it on TikTok. Like some of the stuff he posts, I'm like, I'm just jealous I can't get away with that equivalent on my side. Because, and that's the other thing is bigger creators, if you're in shape, you get away with a lot more.
I've actually watched someone say that somewhere else too, the same exact thing, like about how like it's like fit privilege, right? Like if you're fit and in shape, you get away with a lot more on TikTok.
Interesting.
Like if you're, like showing a little too much, like you get away with a little bit more.
So,
I got flagged for nudity.
Oh shit! I've gotten flagged for nudity once. When it's like guys with big ones. Does it hurt to walk? And I did a video of me in slow mo walking and holding my back, and it got flagged like 8 months after I posted it.
I got flagged too.
Yeah, it was nuts. And fuck.
I can imagine how many times you get flagged for it though.
So there is speaking of bigger creators, you get away with things. You have no idea how true that is, right? There are some huge creators on TikTok that we can't even speak about what they are into and what they do. It's not good. They've got actual like criminal charges laid against them for some of this stuff, and they have a following and a platform. And like, if you go at them, like people have stitched them, duetted them, tried to mention them, and they lose their account immediately.
Oh
right?
yeah.
These people make TikTok a lot of money, right? So they're fine to it, right? They don't care. You come at them, you're coming after TikTok's revenue source, right? So they're just like, nope.
But like Jake is probably a big revenue source for them.
Oh yeah, no, Jake is.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Like, and it's funny because whenever guys are like, "Oh, how can I get into doing spicy content?" and I'm like, honestly, I'm a chick, so you can't compare your experience to me whatsoever. But look up Jake and Rich. If you think you can do thirst traps like him and you can give off that kind of vibe, then I think you can do it. But honestly, like Jake and Rich is
Quentin, yeah. Quentin does shit.
Quentin too. Yeah, Quentin. Yeah. Quentin's a good one. But Quentin, he does it, but I like it's not his main priority. Like he's so much like Quentin, I feel like is just he's working on himself and whatever works into him, he does. Yeah. But like I love how recently people are like, "Oh, you're not why I followed you or whatever." And he's like, "You saw me dancing to a song."
Yeah.
And it's like almost like me and my "Have you ever been fucked" song. Like I just do it because I know I get a lot of traction. And in the summertime, he kept doing that one song, and people are like, "Oh, well, you don't do that anymore." And it's like, well, have you looked at his page? Do you know what he's all about? Like he's going through a lot of shit and sharing his story, and I love that. And because I can only imagine like the pieces that I can relate to, I'm like, I hope that like people see this and get to relate to in the ways they need to. And when people are like, "Oh,
audience, right? Like blue collar men,
not
talking about their family, like not talking about their traumas. Like it's so important to do that, and it's so to have someone so big like Quentin talk like that. You know, it's so nice.
Yeah, and Quentin will be a future episode too because he agreed to come on. So I love Quentin. I love Quentin. Yeah, he's a solid guy. You know, every time I go into his live, he's like, "Oh, Dick, what's going on, man?" You know, like he grew really big, really fast.
Oh yeah, but it makes sense. Like he's very personable and like easy on the eyes, so that helps.
Like Jake originally, like way back, like 2 years ago now, it was just like a blue collar guy. Like he was just like Quentin, right? Like it was just like he was just doing it off his coveralls, and it was like a big thing. Like, and now it's like what he's grown to is crazy.
So basically, what I'm getting from this is she wants me to find a skin tight dark Spider-Man costume.
I think you want to find it because you love Jake.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that with a skin tight black Spider-Man costume.
Don't ever post it.
It's coming.
You can't even move your hips like that.
I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna watch all his videos. I'm gonna subscribe.
You're gonna subscribe.
I'm gonna subscribe and take pointers.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to do some research, so it makes sense. I mean, I like that's the other thing. It's like sometimes I'm like, I feel like I need to subscribe to more people just to like see what's out there.
Well, yeah, but that's how you grow on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, right? You basically you find your niche, people in your niche, and you follow, you interact, you engage, and you become part of that community. And then you got content, like look at the oil and gas niche, right? Like Benny said, we were talking on the phone like a couple weeks back, and he's like, man, you have no idea how many of your sounds I use, and I use some of his, and like we try to one up each other, but in a friendly way, right? We keep our niche competitive, right? And
totally.
Oh yeah,
it's
a lot of.
I definitely like your videos. I'm like, can I use this sound? Can I stitch it? Like, how can I incorporate it? And actually, a shout out to you. I've got a couple subscribers because they're like, I follow Dick, and I like how you guys interact with each other. And I just had to click the links.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like it's.
Yeah, Emma was one of the very first people who bought one of the merch, right?
Yeah, you were one of the very first people who bought like a sweater, and you wear it all the time, and in your videos, and I love that. I love seeing that. It's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, well, it's one of my staples.
Yeah, 100%.
In my wardrobe, and like it's funny because that I feel like I can wear to work. It's not a problem because it says only Frost. Whereas if I say, like, if I wear my OnlyFans hoodie, I put my coveralls on before I get to location so I can like zip it up over the OnlyFans part. Whereas
Do
I'm
you
like,
have
the
any?
few different letters, I just feel completely like, oh, this is fine.
Do you have any stickers? Did you get any stickers, or did you order before we even had stickers?
I ordered before you had stickers, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to send her some. We'll have to send her some.
Yeah, definitely.
But well, actually, I need to get stickers made up, and I would like people like you, like if you want to take a stack of stickers, you know how you like to give them out. Like I want to get a sticker with a QR code, and I literally am gonna be like, okay, blue collar guys, who wants to hook me up? I'll send you 25, and I just want a picture of 25 outhouses that you've stuck it in. Because, like, you know, if guys are going in there, they generally have their phone. That's a 5 minute. Like, if you saw me, like, little animated me with a QR code and outhouse, depending on how long it is, you're probably going to search it.
100%. So we were going to get stickers for the podcast. We have stickers for the podcast, but we were going to get the QR ones.
We have
right?
that.
And they're coming.
No, we have the old ones still.
Oh, yeah, the old ones. The old ones, the other podcast, we had made, but before they had arrived, it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we were getting them ordered up and made for this podcast, and this podcast ain't going nowhere. No matter how bad or terrible the numbers are, I have fun doing it. So
the numbers are good,
and the numbers are pretty good. So I mean, it's great.
Well, it's also you're starting off a podcast, like, so I can only imagine, like, think about it now to think about it in a year from now. Like, say I come on again in a year and it'll be like, man, I remember the first one I had this many, and now like I had 200. Now I'm at 200,000 or something wild. Like,
well, I have like an advantage, same advantage as the last one I had, but I have an advantage to mine that, you know, just the average person starting off on a podcast doesn't have, right? Like I have like a following on TikTok, I have a following on Facebook, Instagram, Clapper, Twitter, a little one on Twitter, not crazy, but Instagram Snapchat's growing pretty big. Just random people. Do you know how many people just like to randomly add you and send pictures of their dick? It's weird, right? It's weird.
You're talking to me.
You would know. This guy would send me one. He wasn't even following me. He would send me a dick pic once a day. And when he didn't send one last week, I was concerned. I was like, where's this guy?
A guy called him the other day.
A random guy on Snapchat called me the other day. It was weird. I didn't answer it, but like I wanted to.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, who is calling you? And it's like Snapchat. And I was like, who is this guy calling you? And like his messages were very disgusting.
Hey, yeah, I get a lot of messages from guys.
Oh,
like, hey, if I ever wanted to venture off into that side of things, I'd be just fine.
Yeah.
It's
so weird.
Whatever.
It's so weird.
Snapchat is hilarious though, and like sometimes, like even like I'm at like the gym on the treadmill, I'm like, did anyone else see that? Like. Because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just flicking through, opening my unread snaps, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay. Like.
Yeah, this guy's name was ML, and he was sending me, he wasn't even following me, and I wasn't following him, but he could send me snaps. I'm like, how? I thought you had to be following each other to get that kind of stuff. But like, once a day, the first 2 times, I'm like, okay. Like, what the fuck? I showed my coworker, I showed Skanes. The second time, I was like, "Oh, okay,
Drew's probably so mad at you."
Oh, he was mad. And then, like they kept coming. I didn't open them. And then the one day is like I didn't see any new ones. And I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" I even messaged him.
Yeah.
I messaged him. I'm like, "Bro, you good? Like, I haven't heard from you all day today. What's up?" Right? And then he followed me.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably gonna be like, "Yeah, this guy likes."
He hasn't messaged me since we started following each other. I haven't got a single thing from him.
So I have one guy on my Snapchat who he's gotta been there for 1.5 years now. And every day he sends me a selfie and says, "Good morning." And I kind of feel like a bitch because I don't really reply, but I do on his birthday when I see the little like birthday emoji by his Snapchat name. This year I was like, happy birthday, like thanks for being here, like, and he sends it every day, and I'm like, you know what, like if that makes you happy, like I'm honestly like I'm kind of used to it, and if he stopped sending that, I'd be like, whoa, what happened, like where'd you go, like I hope you found like a nice girlfriend or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because like that's the other thing is like sometimes with Snapchat guys will like add me and delete me, and after like once or twice I'm like, okay, so stop hiding me from someone. Like, I can see you deleting me and adding me.
So when I first started Instagram and I got the merch line stuff like that going, there's this guy out of Maine. I think he was out of Maine. I talked about him in one of the future podcasts or past podcasts.
He ordered from us too.
He ordered a bunch of shit from us, but every day he'd send me a picture of him in the shower without a shirt on, thumbs up, and he'd be like, "Hey," right? Every day, just a different angle.
Yeah.
And he was married to another guy, right? Him and his husband were on vacation. Right, and they sent me pictures on the plane of them giving both a thumbs up, and right, and I haven't heard from him in a while. I gotta message him after this. I'm gonna go and look for him because I haven't heard from him in months. Like I feel used.
So I think like people who are listening to this, who want to get in touch with their favorite creators personally, they just have to keep going every day.
That's like consistency is key. Like we see you. Like
Oh,
and like also shout out to those people that we just talked about if they actually listened.
I love Brian. Brian's the shit. Brian Steed or whatever his name is. I love that guy. But I answer back all my messages, all of them on Instagram. I get the most on Instagram.
Yeah, he really needs to stop answering back to them all.
Some of them are just like, "Where's your OF link?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, like people don't know that like we like I open every message. Like I can open every single message. Like if we don't hide anything from each other. He can open mine, I can open his. So like sometimes when I open his, I'm like, why? Why did I do this to myself?
Oh, but no, I've only blocked one person, and that was the guy from the other day.
Who called you?
He called me, but he was asking me if I ever edge my hog. He's like, "Do you ever edge your hog?" And I answered him. I replied, and I'm like, "All the time, bro, all the time." I just thought it was gonna be a one reply and done, but he just went off. He's like, "That's so hot. I'm so horny now." Blah 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 blah. And he wanted more, and he's like, "I'm edging right now, bro. I'm edging just thinking about it."
And then he called him.
And then he calls me. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, this is the end of the line, man. I'm sorry. I hope you still follow, but
it was very late. Like it was late at night that you called.
Yeah,
too.
Or something. I hope you still follow, but you can no longer message me.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can imagine how many messages Emma gets exactly like that.
Oh, probably.
I don't check Instagram DMs because it's like there's too much.
DMs are wild. One of our friends, she's a wife. She got a DM, a dirty picture DM from one of Richard's coworkers. Actually,
he was wearing his coveralls with his name on them.
I love it.
That was fucked up. And we shamed him hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's married. Yeah. Okay.
Well, anything you want to finish off with or say before you go there, Emma? Before we.
Not that I can think of.
Subscribe to Emma.
Subscribe anywhere you can to Emma. Well, what's your Snapchat? You didn't really say that.
Well, did you know Snap Max is out at 5,000?
Really? I didn't know. I guess I'll later because my Snap is in my tree and I get random ads all the time.
EmmaStoned 22 is the Snap that I give out. There's another one that gets better content, and I actually have a GoFundMe if you want to donate to get on that one, because that was PayPal banned me, took a couple $100 because I was using it for the wrong reasons. So my loophole I found is GoFundMe. So
there you go. What's your GoFundMe?
If you just Google EmmaStoned with a D 420 GoFundMe, you'll get there. It's like my link tree has it all. I have an Amazon wish list. No one's ever bought me anything, but my birthday is next month, so I should pump that up.
You want to buy her something?
Oh, want to? Maybe we'll send her another Only Frosty.
Maybe we'll send her an Only. Hey, is that on your wish list?
Hey, actually though, oh my God. So I ordered myself something for my birthday. It's this game, and it's called Cum Face, and you gotta like pump it to see who can win. So I think one time we should get together. I don't know if you'd be down to play a round or two. But,
I think he would. I would never.
Yeah. Like that would be fun. Like that. I was like, should I order 2? Do they break easy?
Is it like a balloon or something?
Like I think you like fill it with water or something. Like I don't know.
All right.
I gotta look into the details. But once I get that in, we should hang out and play around.
Definitely, I'm down.
Good content.
This will be on this podcast anyway. This will be the longest episode so far.
So far.
I bet a lot of them like pretty decently short.
No, I think people,
short, like an hour and a half.
People do like long.
And they do. They do. Like a lot of people travel for work, right? You know, and on my niche, but I'm trying to broaden that a little bit, right? Where it's not just oil field workers listening either. So, you know, like a lot of people travel and listen, and you know, sometimes I take a bus from Calgary to Edmonton to go back to work. That's 3 hours. You know, I have 3 hours to kill. I put my AirPods in and I listen, and I'll probably listen tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Totally. I know I took, what was your last one? It took me 2 days to listen to because I listened to it on the way to work one day and then on the drive home the next day.
Oh, with Chris Barber.
But, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a really fun one to do.
I haven't finished it yet, which I used to be like I used to finish it very like I used to listen to it like the next day, but my kids are all and they don't like listening to the podcast.
No, they don't.
That makes sense. I could see that.
They don't like listening to my voice.
They hate immediately. They're like, "Oh my gosh, can you play Post Malone?"
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been fun.
Yeah, it has been.
Thanks for taking like time out of your schedule. Yes. I know you're busy. You could have been, you know, creating content for your socials and making money off of that, but instead you're here for free.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of helps with that, but whatever. Same
shit.
Yeah. You gotta go. Totally. You gotta go on your marketing tour. This is the Italian goodbye. This is my my childhood trauma. This is. He's
not Italian.
Well,
I'm not Italian.
Have a wonderful evening, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you have a wonderful evening too.
Subscribe to Emma.
And, everyone have an amazing night and stay frosty.